fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. You got Craig and TK and Head that D, tune in at the fish report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Tune in to the fish report.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Fish Report Live. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Craig Fissinger. That is Ken Francis. We're your host. Back in the sound room, TK and Heavy D back together again. Been separated for about 3-4 weeks, something like that. Glad they're back there. We're going to talk to them a little bit later in the program. And of course, out in the studio it's Covey and Kearns. Excited to talk to them. Excited to talk to them about the softball tournament draw that happened last weekend. But Ken, an action-packed morning on FRL. We are stacked today.
We are stacked, Craig. This morning's going to be a great show, Craig. We're going to talk about some girls softball. We're going to talk about some track and field, Craig. We're going to go over to Fort Loramie, Craig, and talk to the arguably the best pitcher, one of the better players on a team, Craig, that I feel may be one of the best D4 teams I've ever seen in the state of Ohio at this point in the season. Seen him play a couple times, Craig, this year. Anyways, we're going to interview Mr. Jared Mittendorf, the senior left-hander, hard-throwing pitcher over there, Craig. He has signed already to play college baseball at Huntington University in Indiana. Craig, he has not given up a run all year. Yeah. He's got an ERA, obviously, of 0.00. Their team record this year in the Shelby County League is 9-0. They've outscored opponents an incredible 111-0. They're all they were supposed to be, Craig, and really looking forward to talking to Jared here in just a few minutes.
Yeah, we'll ask him about that, find out exactly what they're doing over there, see if he can give us any secrets, that's for sure. But before we do all that, let's go out to Studio R, check in with Covey and Kearns. Guys, good morning. Got a chance to go over to that Anna Russia game on Tuesday, an exciting one that was for the Raiders. They won that 8-3, and this league race, it's going to go down to the wire, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. You really got now the separation that we've all kind of been anticipating for a while. You know, when's the pack kind of dissolve from the top to the middle. And we're getting it here now with Russia and Houston. They're supposed to have a matchup May 11th, which is in midway through tournament draw. But luckily it doesn't affect you pitching-wise like it does baseball. So it'll be here at Russia Park. So expect Fish Report to probably maybe be calling that game because it'll be a good one. And, you know, it reminds me of 5 years ago when Russia and Houston played here for the SCL boys basketball title, and that was a winner-take-all that the Raiders ended up taking for their first county title in 8 years. But the Russia's really connecting on all facets after that early league loss against Anna. You know, they're starting to get the hitting together. Sophie Francis, though, kind of a softer throwing pitcher, really starting to piece it together. Riley Hammonds hit a couple home runs. Kennedy Gubo, who's had to sit out those 3 years with those gruesome lower body injuries, is really starting to get it going. And we're really starting to see the Raiders piece together something special.
Yeah, these past 2 seasons, me and Covey back here, we've always pretty much gotten the league race right. I think for volleyball, we called Russia and Loramie being at the top. For basketball, we called Loramie being at the top. But this year, I think we were wrong. We both thought Anna was going to take the cake, but we were definitely wrong. The rest of the league surprised us. Houston surprised me. I didn't think they'd be 7-1 at this point, tied for the league race, but hats off to the softball for surprising us. They've been playing great, especially the Raiders. After dropping that first one, they're 9-0. They finally got a well-oiled machine over there. Coach Molenkamp's got it working out. So definitely look for that Houston-Russia game coming up.
Well, guys, so the league race is exciting right now, but as well as the tournament draw that happened this past weekend. Break it down for us. Let's cover our friends over there, Anna, in Division III as well. But what do we look forward to there?
Oh, tournament draw is just a whole nother beast. I just love tournament time. It's just so different. I mean, the style and the vibe that you get and just the intensity of every moment and every pitch. They got a good battle with Miami East here, a CCC opponent that you know has maybe a deceiving 7-11 record. And if they get past there, there's a good Versailles team who lost to Russia on a walk-off in the Katie Horseman Classic. Versailles has got a real solid team. They usually do over there. And then there's Ben Logan, 17-2. They're up and off in Division II a lot of the times. So look for Ben Logan to come out of that, but don't be surprised to see if Anna can sneak off a win or two.
Yeah, and on the next one, we go to the Division IV softball in Sydney. We have Ansonia, Houston, Botkins, Mechanicsburg, and Jackson. Mechanicsburg being the number 1 seed, they're at 11-3 right now. You definitely look for them to come out, but come tournament time, I've played it for 3 years, my 4th year coming up. Seeding is pretty much out the door. If you get a solid performance from your offense and your pitchers on, anything can happen. So my pick would to see Mechanicsburg coming out here, but you never know what's going to happen. So definitely look to get out to these tournament games.
Yeah, and just keep moving on. And this is the most loaded bracket that I've seen out of any of the brackets. The one that pull up on the screen here in a second, and you're seeing, as you see on your monitor, Russia playing Triad here early on. That is going to be a great matchup. You got Triad Cardinals from the Ohio Heritage Conference going over and playing the Russia Raiders, who could win themselves another SCL title. Then you look at the bottom, you got the Skip Miller list, Bradford Railroaders, which, by the way, I don't know if anyone saw on Twitter, but they had a sweet railroad track on their softball field for senior night. Shout out to Bradford. Then you got a solid Loramie team as well. You know, Coach Turner always has his girls ready to play. Loramie is always a tournament team no matter what sport you play, so they always dig deep. And that's going to be a really good sectional. But look for Bradford to be the leader and the favorite in that sectional.
Kobe, now I haven't heard for sure, and I may have to go over to the train stop for breakfast Saturday morning and get the right answer on this, but I've heard that Skip Miller, 4 months post ACL surgery, might be back to pitch in the tournament. Have you guys heard anything on that, or is that just rumor from the train stop?
My sources cannot confirm nor deny that.
My sources can't confirm or deny that either, and I usually have some pretty good resources, so but what I would say there is don't rush, especially her being a sophomore. Don't rush her back. She's got so much potential. Signed to go play Division I, are going to play Division I at Ohio, committed, but still a long ways away, and even a college recruiting process. You don't want to really put her down this road of injuries and ruin what a scholarship can mean in a college degree, which is a lot more to what Skip should be looking forward to. And I wouldn't want to rush her back if I was Bradford.
I would put it this way: I wouldn't be surprised to see her back. I think she's tough as nails, and it would not surprise me.
I'm with Kobe on that. I think she ought to sit out the rest of the season and look forward to next year. But we'll find out. All right, guys, good stuff. Thanks for that. And Ken, you touched on baseball a little bit at the top of the show. Let's continue on in that. SCAL, Fort Loramie, of course, dominating right now, but Russia keeps creeping their way up those standings, don't they?
Yeah, they did, Craig. I remember looking at these standings about 3 weeks ago, early in the season, and Russia was sitting winless on 0-7 overall, Craig. They've creeped their way all the way up to third place, and if you looked at things before the season started, you had to figure Fort Loramie was a hands-down favorite. I mean, bringing everybody back from a state championship team. You had to figure Anna was probably right there in the mix with Russia somewhere trailing them 2 teams. So even though the Raiders have got off to a rough start, the season has not been like they wanted it to be from a total wins and losses perspective. They're really sitting, Craig, in third place, probably about where most people thought they would be come the end of the season. Now, they got a big game Thursday night at Fairlawn. And then they've got Houston and Anna left. So they got a tough road to hoe to finish in third place there. But, the Fort Loramie Redskins, Craig, just the cream of the crop of the Shelby County League, playing terrific baseball. Coach Sanders over there has done a nice job with the team. But, it's I shouldn't take anything away from Coach Sanders because he's done a great job. But when you got all those returning players, they've got great talent over there, and he's made it work for them. They've brought it all together, and an exceptional baseball team. All
right, well, I'm going to ask you to get out your crystal ball here a little bit. Tournament draw comes up this weekend for baseball. If you had to pick your top 5 seeds coming up in the sectional, who you picking?
Well, Craig, obviously number 1 is Fort Loramie. Number 2, I say you give it probably to Lehman based on their record. Lehman traditionally doesn't play the strength of schedule that even a Russia or some of these other schools play. But they got a nice team over there this year, so I'd give number 2 to Lehman. 3, 4 probably go between Mechanicsburg and Triad. The 5 seed, I got to give it to Russia, hands down. I mean, I don't think there's a team out there of any of those 4 that I just mentioned, including Fort Loramie, that would look forward to playing a Russia team with Daniel Kearns on the mound.
Agreed.
So, Russia is a very, very dangerous team, sitting at just 6-12 overall. But with Kearns on the mound, baseball's a funny game. they can beat anybody. And like I said, I think a lot of the coaches in the D4 sectional are going to have respect for Coach Flippo and his team and say, hey, these are the teams I don't want to play. Rushie's going to be near the top of that list.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, and I think you put it well there. When you think about Daniel Kearns on the mound, where are you sitting at in that seating? And I think Rushie probably in that fifth spot's probably a good place for him. So good stuff there, Ken. And a little track and field news. You know, it's the last weekend coming up of the regular season before we get into the league meet next week. And for the Shelby County Athletic League schools, they all are running on Friday night locally here. Anna, Fairlawn, Houston, Rushie, all over at Covington in their invite. You got Botkins going over to West Liberty Salem. Jackson Center is at Indian Lake, and Fort Loramie runs in the Fairmont Invitational. First time they've done that one. Kind of a neat one over there. Big schools, Beaver Creek, Springfield running over there, and they do a fun event that we don't see all the time, the steeplechase over there. So I know Fort Loramie senior and University of Toledo commit Jake Rathman are going to be competing in the steeple. Excited to see how he's going to do in that. But, you know, this last week of the regular season, it's all about getting ready for that league meet. And you know, the league meet, Ken, is a little different in the postseason than we see, you know, other postseasons, you know, where you don't have to qualify for the district meet. The league meet is really all about doing the best for your school, getting the most points you can for your school. And I've noticed a kind of a disturbing trend, I guess you say, in the last couple of years where athletes, track and field athletes, don't want to do something that's not their event. You know, they don't want that's not my event. I don't want to compete in it. And I compare it to basketball. You know, if you're a 5'8" wing player and your coach tells you to go play in the post because he sees a mismatch, you go play in the post. You don't tell the coach that's not my position. I don't play there.
Agree.
So you know, if you're a sprinter and the coach wants you to go to the league meet and do the long jump because it's going to get points, you do it. If you're an 800 runner and the coach says, hey, I need you to run the 16, I need you to run the 32, you go do it. You don't say that's not my event. You know, and the other thing that's bothered me here the last couple of years is when I hear track and field athletes say, well, my legs are sore, my back's sore, I'm beat up. Well, Ken, what sport when you go into the postseason aren't you beat up in?
Agree.
Football, cross country, basketball. You get to the postseason, I tell you, if you're not sore, either you ain't working very hard or you're extremely, extremely, extremely blessed, which I don't know too many athletes that are in that position where they're not sore by the postseason. So I think you gotta again, these league meets, it's all about doing it for your school. You get to the district, then you can focus on your events and moving on. But the league meets, you go out there and you get the most points for your school.
I 100% agree, Craig. I was associated with high school track for several years when my daughters ran, and I know kids on her team that did events in the county meet that they never did all year, including before or after. But in the county meet, they did whatever it took to win the Rushie Raiders a Shelby County League championship, and they did just that.
Yeah, so it's I hope I hear less and less of that as the years go by. I've been hearing a lot of it these last couple of years, and it just bothered me. Glad I could get it off my chest here this morning. So, but I'm going to cool down a little bit as we take a short break. But stay right there. When we come back, we're going to get back to talking baseball, including that big interview with Fort Loramie senior pitcher Jared Mittendorf.
Song in the motherland. If you were born with heart, reason, pride, this is gonna go wrong through your bloodline. Oh, 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 loaded, bruised, and slain. Oh, 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 pride in this name. When the skies run deep within this blue, false devised by foolish views, religious divide among them may create civil war on my family. Oh, 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 loaded, bruised, and slain. Oh, 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 pride in this name.
And welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live. Before the break, we were talking some softball, some baseball, a little track and field. Now we're going to go back to talking some baseball, and that brings us to our next guest. He is a senior pitcher and first baseman for Ohio's #1 ranked Division IV team, coming off last year's state championship, Ken. His record so far this year on the mound is a perfect 5-0, and as you said at the top of the show, he's got a 0.00 ERA. Opposing teams have yet to score a run off him, either earned or unearned. We welcome to the program now Fort Loramie's Jared Mittendorf. Jared, thanks for joining us on Fish Report Live.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure being on here.
Now, listen, I just read off some amazing stats of yours, but Jared, what's even more amazing is what your team is doing right now. You know, you beat our Russia Raiders here on Tuesday night by a score of 9-0, and that score actually increased, I guess, your run differential against the Shelby County Athletic League to 111-0. A Shelby County League school has yet to score a run off the Fort Loramie Redskins. Simply amazing. You're 18-0. 11 of those wins are shutouts. What do you attribute all this success to right now?
I would say we stick to the fundamentals very well. We're a team that practices day in and day out. That's all we do. We take ground balls nonstop. We take BP nonstop. Nobody on this team even really tries to be a star. We all know our role. We have Darren Hoying behind the plate. He's a great catcher. He knocks down pretty much every ball that is in the dirt. We have Noah, Giosi, Griffin Meyer, Joel Kaiser, and Evan Holscher on the mound sometimes, and they do a phenomenal job getting the job done. And we have Hank Ruenkamp at second base, and he does a great job coming in for Shane Hilgefort. And he puts great swings on the ball, plays a solid second base. Everyone has everybody's back on this team, whether it's good or bad. We're going through good or bad stretches. But most importantly, I'd say we do our best to execute every single pitch or play or at bat like it's our last.
Well, Jared, I read a story, a nice feature on you in Press Pros Magazine about a month ago, and it was interesting because it talked about your sophomore year and how you threw like 65 mile an hour. You still were successful. You were able to get batters out. But now your senior year, you're throwing basically 20 miles an hour faster, and you're still successful. For any younger viewers that are watching the show right now and wanting to know, how can I get 20 miles an hour velocity? What do you have to do to get that velocity and to be as successful you've been?
The main thing I would say is to pound the off-season lifting and run a ton and eat right. Over the off-season for the past few years, I've been lifting 4 times a week. I've been running at least twice a week, if not more, and I'd limit the junk food to the best of my ability.
Jared, good morning to you. Ken Francis here. I want to talk a little bit about some of your senior teammates. I've known this group of kids, TK, Heavy D as well. You know, we've each got sons that are seniors, the same age as yourself and your teammates there. We've been playing against you guys since about 3rd grade, I think it is. So know all you guys very, very well. But explain to our listeners out there who some of your other senior teammates and the success that they've had and what's important on your team.
Yeah, we have a ton of seniors on this team. I'll start off in left field with Ben Ballhorst. He's an amazing 6-hole hitter. He's at the top of our team for batting average. He's a very fast kid. He's always putting good swings on the ball. In center, we got Carter Mesher. He's a crazy good athlete, great leadoff. He always finds a way to get on, whether it's take a pitch to the thigh or it's a good hit or he's getting a walk. He's always finding a way to get on base. Devin Werman is a solid right fielder, doing great at the plate this year. He's the 5-hitter. He's always making solid contact on the ball. CJ Billings, our 3-hole, he has a ton of power. He's always driving the ball over people's heads this year. He has a great glove in the hot corner. He plays third base for us. He's been phenomenal this year. Eli Rosengarten is our shortstop, and he has a very strong arm. He's got very few errors this year. He's doing great in the field. He bats 7th for us. He's doing great coming off the basketball season with not much time to practice for us. He's doing a great job. We have Shane Hilgefort at second base. He's the 9-hole hitter.
Is he also known as Sugar? Is that the same guy?
Yes, he's also known as Sugar.
Okay, I just checking.
And,
Checking for a friend there, Jared.
Gotcha. He always finds a way to move runners over. He's always making something happen, whether it's a bunt, he's hitting it on the ground to the right side. He's always finding a way to get his runners over and getting hits. Nathan Ratterman is our first baseman. He's got a really good glove over there. He's bat second for us. His on-base percentage for us is out of this world. He's either walking, taking one, or he's getting on base. He's always putting solid swings on the ball. He's a very athletic kid. Mason Kemper is a great pitcher. He dominates on the mound. He's got confidence. He has great stuff, and he's got a lot of pop in his fastball. And Ethan Plyman is our catcher for Darren Hoying, and he's a very athletic kid. He's always positive in the dugout, 24/7, and he always has a way to make us laugh, too.
Jared, let's go off of the baseball diamond just for a minute here for my next question. And I think it was a week or so ago when I seen some photos that you guys looked like you went into the gymnasium, probably was raining outside, to no surprise, and looks like you had a lot of fun playing a little bit of wiffle ball. So if we could show the screen up there, and not only wiffle ball, but it looks like to me you got a lot of Cleveland Browns fans on this team too.
Yeah, we do. It was actually draft night, and we just wanted to rep our team. It's our second year doing this, the wiffle ball tournament. Really, baseball is all about having fun and enjoying the game, and sometimes it's good to have a break every now and then and just have fun with your teammates and your coaches and parents. We had teams for this. We had parents and the coaches and on one team, juniors, freshmen on another, sophomores on one, and us seniors on one. The sophomores actually won it all this year. They beat us in the first round on a iffy foul ball call. I'll leave it at that.
Jared, let's talk a little bit about the game tonight. You take your perfect season record on the line over to Sydney to take on the Yellow Jackets out of the GWAC Conference. What do you expect from Sydney? What's their, how are they playing this year, and what's it going to take for Fort Loramie to continue the run of a perfect season?
Yeah, we don't really know too much about them. We're going to stick to our usual plan. Stick with the fundamentals. We know we have a target on our back no matter who we play this year, and we're going to take no team lightly because every team's going to give us their best pitcher, and we're not going to take anybody lightly. So we'll give it our all, and we're trying to play the best ball we possibly can every game.
Jared, big weekend coming up. It's tournament draw. We obviously like to follow our Russia Raiders over here. We're interested in the tournament draw just as much as anybody because once tournament starts, everybody is 0-0 again. So two questions here. Number one, thoughts on the tournament draw coming up and where you feel that you guys will fall. Obviously, you'll be the number one seed. And also a little bit on your post-high school career plans. We know you've signed to play college baseball at Huntington University. Explain to our listeners why you may have chosen that particular school.
Yeah, Huntington is a very beautiful campus. It has a great professor. I talked to him. He was the professor for business management, where I'm going to major in. I connected with the coaches very well. They were very polite. All the players made me feel welcomed, like it was my home, and it's very close to home, so it was a perfect fit for me.
That sounds good. What's your thoughts on the tournament draw coming up on Saturday or Sunday?
I'm excited for it. We're going to probably be number one here and just take no team lightly again. It's stick to the fundamentals, and we'll take care of business.
Hey, Jared, one more question before we let you go, but I know for a fact that Sydney Daily News sports editor Bryant Billing is going to be covering that game tonight when you travel over there to Sydney to take on the Yellow Jackets. And the reason I know that is because there is an 8th grade Russia student that's going to be job shadowing Bryant as part of a project for school. That 8th grade student happens to be my son, Ross. So, if he happens to get in the Fort Loramie dugout, I know you've been through a few interviews before. Do you have any advice for this young guy if he ends up in the Redskins dugout and he might happen to ask you a question or do an interview? Any advice for him?
Yeah, first of all, I was don't wear any blue or gold. And also no note taken in case we end up playing Russia in the tournament.
All right, tell him to keep the notebook at home,
yeah.
and
if
I'm not sure I can convince him to wear red and
those,
black.
Yeah, all right. If he does all those, we'll treat him like he's part of the team, share some seeds with him, we'll have a good time.
Sounds good. Well, listen, Jared, we appreciate you getting up so early this morning, doing the interview with Fish Report. Good luck to yourself, the rest of the season, the rest of your Redskins over there, and best of luck in your college careers over there in Huntington U.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yep.
Thanks,
Take care.
Jared.
Bye.
All right, that was Fort Loramie senior pitching star and first baseman Jared Mittendorf, and kind of neat because I know our viewers probably don't know this, but me and Jared's dad actually grew up as childhood friends, spent a lot of time playing baseball in backyards. So if by chance my son Ross and Jared can get together and talk a little bit, pretty neat from my standpoint. I know for Jared's dad as well.
That would be neat. Well, I was hoping maybe that he would say, Ross could, maybe Coach Sanders would maybe give Ross one of some tips on some of their signals or something, and
that
Ross
could help.
could play a little incognito, act like he's not not even paying attention.
I have a feeling they'll be keeping their eye on Ross in that dugout. You got a Rushy Raider in there, that's for sure. All right, well, let's get back to the sound room and check in with Heavy D and TK back together again. Guys, like I said, it's been 3-4 weeks. Good to see you both back there again, and good morning.
Good morning. It's good to be back.
All right, TK. Well, we want to get back to you on this SCA Athlete of the Week. Seems like we've been skipping that part of the show for a number of weeks now. Help me out here. Who you picking for your Athlete of the Week?
My Athlete of the Week is going to be track and field, actually the field side of track and field, going with Grace Holman from Botkins, the senior star there. Over the past weekend at the Cardinal Invite up in New Bremen, took first in the disc, first in the shot put. I believe it was her shot put equaled her year long with a 41.11. From the disc, took first place but wasn't her best. She was 125. Her best for the season is 134, which is better than what she did at state last year. So she is warming up right on time, getting ready. Of course, we've talked about her before. Hope to see her at state again and doing real well. So she's my Athlete of the Week with a nice performance last Friday night at the Cardinal Invite.
Good call there, TK.
Yeah, I was actually at that meet, and I tell you, there was about a 25 mile an hour wind blowing, so I'm not sure if she was throwing into the wind or with the wind. I'm going to guess with maybe being a little bit under her personal record, maybe she was throwing into the wind, but she is something else, and yeah, I expect her to do good things and get to that state meet and probably both those events and score a lot of points for Botkins just by herself. So good stuff there. Good call on that one, TK. And Heavy D, what do you got in the mailbag this week?
Yeah, great question today. This one comes from my biggest fan, Daniel Kearns, is how he wrote the letter. Dear Heavy, what's your morning routine during the work week? So I work Monday through Friday, usually. Set the alarm for 6, hit the snooze. The coffee pot starts brewing at 6. It goes off at 6:10. So pop out of bed. I get Foxy a cup of coffee. Jump in the shower. Get ready for work. Check a few work emails. See what's coming at me for the day. Give Foxy a kiss on the lips. I'm out the door usually by about 20 till 7, and at work by about 10 after 7. That's what I got, Daniel.
That's detailed.
That's
too.
interesting stuff. I'm going to think about that now. And during my morning routine, I'll know exactly what Heavy D's doing.
Absolutely. That's good stuff.
All right, guys. Thanks for that. Always good stuff, that's for sure. All right, Ken, well, that's going to wrap it up for us this morning. Do want to say special thanks to our guest, Jared Mittendorf, for joining us on the show. And I understand you're going to be off next week.
I will be out of town next week.
All right, we'll have to find someone else to come into the studio. Anyone interested, just let me know. We might we could fill this chair very easily. All right, well, like I said, that's going to wrap it up for us. Until next week, everyone, have a great day.
Hanging at the fish report. 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 For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report.